So I'm not an international sports star or a racing driver. I'm just a business owner like everybody here probably. And a lot of you will have heard me talk at the groups. And when I speak at the groups, I tend to talk about things like networking etiquette, which is how to do a 60 seconds, how to do a 10-minute, all the little things that will help you when you're in a networking environment in a group. And that's all well and good, but once you've heard that a couple of times, hopefully you've got that arsenal and you're good to go. But look, for those of you who haven't met me before, as Dan said, I basically started the networking group in 2012. It's been a fantastic opportunity for me to expand my network. In 2007, I left the corporate world. I had 67 staff. I was had a business that was turning over 40-something million dollars. And I was totally bored out of my brain. I'd been in the UK for 11 years working in a similar industry in construction. And I also had a 2-year-old son and another son on the way. So I resigned from my job. And for those of you who remember 2007, it was the GFC and it was a pretty scary time. I was the only breadwinner in our house. My wife was pregnant at that stage. And so I had a lot of pressure, and if you're a business owner, you'll understand financial pressure. It never goes away, no matter how big your business gets, or when you're thinking about taking on new staff. So I literally had an idea, and I sat down in what was a bedroom, which was now an office with a desk and a laptop, which is what most of us do really, and started to write my business plan. The good thing about taking over the bedroom as an office is that my mother-in-law couldn't come and stay for extended times anymore, so there was an upside. What I realized really quickly was that I needed a marketing plan, and the business that I'd been running, I would spend $1 million plus a year on marketing, but I didn't drive the marketing. I gave it to a marketing company who drove the marketing for us. I had a sales force of 16 people, a customer service team of 20-something people, but I didn't really get involved in the marketing. So I had an idea. I was going to start a renovations and maintenance company that was a one-stop shop, and that's Maintain to Profit, which you can see in the small picture behind me. And I didn't have money for signage. I didn't have money for flash cars. I didn't have anything. So I decided that I would go out and start meeting people and talking to people and start to connect with the people that I knew. And my other passion in life is property investment. And so I started meeting with property investors and talking about their pain points. And that's really where I started to learn that to have a small business or any business in New Zealand, you've got to start to connect with people and understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, and in particular, what their pain points are. And so alongside of that, I started some structured networking, and I joined Rotary and a few other things, and my business started to flourish. And so if we take that up till today, that business has 12 franchises. It has another 2 that will join us in the next 3 months. We cover from Warkworth to Wellington at the moment, and looks like we're going to be in the South Island very shortly. And it's a significant business. It's a household name in Auckland in particular, but it's becoming that way in Tauranga and Bay of Plenty in Wellington as well. But most of that growth from all of the owners is also through business networking. And so the types of networking and how that's helped me in regards to building that business, and some of you here will be quite happy having your own business and being one person. Some of you will want to build a big business. It doesn't really matter what you want to do. It's about being able to get to the right clients and to the right customers and to make a lot of money along the way. Otherwise, you're not going to stay in business, particularly in the sort of environment we've had for the last 12 months. So what I've been able to do through my networking is I've been able to recruit new owners, new franchise owners, through the people that I've met through networking. I've been able to recruit at least 100 contractors, subcontractors, electricians, builders, plumbers, people that I've met that are now working for us. Some of those people have been working for us for 11 and 12 years, and now they were one-man bands and now have 10 or 11 guys working for them. So that's exciting because the networking and has grown their business while we've grown as well. my accountants, my lawyers, my mortgage broker, my insurance people, my IT guys are all people that have come through my networking. And I call them my circle of excellence because they are the best at what they do for my business. I'm not afraid to change them, but there has to be a really good reason for that. And I will only take somebody into the fold of my businesses that comes from networking. I don't take them from outside of there. My business mentors that I've had, and I've had a lot of business mentors, and if you don't have a business mentor, go find one or ask some business mentors about how they can help you, have all come through networking, and they've come and gone as well. Business mentors run their course in your business. The real important thing is that not only do those people provide a service for me, but they also provide referrals to me directly as well. Why have we got an echo in that hand,
Yeah.
Is that gone? Okay. And so now what happens in business is I can connect with anybody, and we had a really great discussion down in Wellington, didn't we, Katrina, about, you know, getting to know the person next to you and sitting next to somebody different at a networking meeting. So we asked two questions. We asked everyone to buddy up, and we asked them to tell the other person something that they wouldn't know about them. And so we got some awesome answers. And then we asked them to talk about somebody who they knew that was either famous or influential. And so we had the John Kerwins of this world. We had one of the Frontera directors. There were people that came out of the woodwork that you wouldn't know, local councillors. There were all sorts of people. And it was really interesting, wasn't it, Katrina? Really interesting what people came up with. So I'm now able to connect with anybody in any environment through the people that I know. But I also network in a lot of different areas. And I'll come to where the gold is in networking, but I just don't network in TNG. I network all of the time. My question for you guys and girls is, what do you want from networking? Because when I meet people and they say networking isn't working for me, I say, what are your goals in networking? Who do you want to meet? Are you looking for suppliers? Are you looking for clients? What are you looking for and why? What goals have you got in your networking? If you're going to invest 2 hours a week into networking out of a 40, 50, 60, however many hours a week, what do you want from that? And the majority of people can't answer that. I have at least 3 meetings a week where I strategically pick people that I want to meet and spend time with. And 2 out of 3 of those will generally not become what I want them to be, but I've put time and effort into those people and they will generally get something from me. So there is some win-win in that. But I'm hand-picking those people to add into the team that I want. And a good example of that is we're part of the Franchise Association and Maintain to Profit. I went to a Franchise Association meeting yesterday, and generally they're boring as bug shit, excuse my French. But to be honest with you, I met a guy who I knew through networking 11 years ago, and I knew he was going, and I've set up a meeting with him. And specifically, I wanted to meet that guy. And I have a specific reason for that, is because he concentrates solely on lead generation, and he's the best person in New Zealand. I keep getting told you need to go back to this guy. So I went to the meeting for a specific reason, to focus in on that guy. Not because he's going to be a client, but because he's going to help me sell franchises. So we've got a meeting from that. So I come back to, what is it that you want from networking? What are you looking for? So maybe just take a minute and write down what you're looking for from networking. And we can have a discussion, have some questions afterwards. But if you're just turning up and you don't have a plan and you don't know what you want, then you're going to get nothing. And your network is not going to evolve. I mean, quite simply, the other day at TNG in Wellington, 20 odd people in the room, just by making people get up and sit next to somebody that they don't sit next to at every meeting, changed the dynamic of the meeting and the room significantly. Katrina, you would agree?
Yes, I agree.
Wasn't hard. It really wasn't hard to do. So I guess how has networking benefited me? Because that's important. What's in it for me? I've got two really successful businesses. TNG is my passion business. I love business owners. I love business. I'll sit all day and talk to people. What you do need to know is that I never used to like to stand up and talk in front of people. I went and joined the Professional Speakers Association to learn how to speak. So for those of you who are not comfortable, not necessarily extroverts, who don't like to stand up and do a 60 seconds, because you're portraying your business, go and get some coaching or some help. So whether you get that from someone like Garth, or you get it from myself, or you go to Toastmasters, or you go to a speakers association, you're going to meet some awesome people, and it's going to be a great network of people, and you'll find everybody else that's in the room is there for the same reason as you. So you have to teach yourself to represent your business well. You need to teach yourself to represent your business well. That way people want to connect with you. What makes you different in the room? I guess the other rewards I've had from networking is I've been able to write books, and all of the members will have a copy of this book, and it's just a simple book. But, you know, I've written the foreword of an international bestseller that's gone to #1 on Entrepreneur X Factor. I would never have thought I would be able to reach these people. There's some hugely famous people in this book that have written about their journeys, not just in New Zealand. And I've written the foreword for it, and I talk about my businesses and my passion. This book sold tens of thousands of copies in the first few weeks. So I've been able to put myself in front of people on a global scale now. Recently, I did a podcast for a person that I know, which was on leadership and the fact that leadership is changing dramatically. And that's in the top international 15 podcasts in the world on leadership. So that's just because I've networked with these people and asked them questions, and it's become a win-win. I'm able to help them, they're able to help me. Because for me now, it's taking the brands and getting them as big as possible. It's become brand ambassador for me. So what do you want from your business in networking? There's the big question. So I guess the real thing that we all want to know is, where is the real gold in networking? And Katrina's had a little bit of because we had a discussion about this in Wellington as well. But so the real gold in networking is not the people that are here on this screen. The real gold is not the people, you may be very lucky, is not the people in your networking group. The real gold, the absolute gold, is in the people that they know. But you need to know yourself who you want to be connected with. And I used the example that I was at a networking meeting about 5 years ago, and somebody wanted to be connected with someone at Vodafone. They had a program that they wanted to sell to Vodafone. Specifically, they'd built it, but they couldn't get in the door. The ex number two from Vodafone was sitting 2 seats over from me. I knew he was ex number 2 Vodafone. This guy didn't. He'd never taken the time to get to know him. So he said, yes, I'll introduce you, but I want to see your product and get to know you first. So the question would have been, does anybody know anybody at Vodafone? Because this is what I'm trying to do. Not just, I've got a program, da. So the real gold in networking is the people that people know. So how do we ask that question? And we did it very well in Wellington the other day. We put people one-on-one, and we, as I said, we said, tell us something about you we don't know. So that's interesting. The second thing we did is said, tell us about influential or famous people that you know. The third thing you can do at the meeting is say, I want to be directly connected with somebody high up at 2 Degrees Mobile, or somebody high up in Fonterra, because there was somebody in the room that could do that day. If you don't get a result from that meeting, go to another networking meeting if you're able to and ask the same question. Because at some stage that will, do you know that the 2 degrees of separation in Auckland is actually only 1 degree? It's probably 2 degrees in Wellington, if you're lucky. We found out that there were international sports stars in Wellington at the meeting sitting at the table. International people that have represented New Zealand at sport were sitting at our table. How cool is that? But the other real gold, apart from the people that the people in your meetings know and your other networks, who belongs to a sports club? Just put your hand up if you belong to a sports club. Who's got kids or grandkids at school? Who belongs to a charity? Who belongs to a hot rod club or a car club or a fishing club or any other type of club, dance club, whatever it is? So pretty much everybody in this room has a massive network of people that all share your interests, who want to help you, who already relate to you. I've done more business when my business was in its infancy, picking up my children at school, before and after school, talking to the parents, and standing on the sidelines at practice every day sometimes, and at football and cricket games on a Saturday, than I've ever done through business networking. And I'm unashamedly happy to have business cards in my pocket at all times. But what I do very carefully is I ask people what they do. Hey, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Oh, I work for such and such. I have my own business. How's that going for you? God, it must be tough at the moment if you're in the travel industry, or however that goes. So those connections are right there in front of you. What you don't want to do is give them the hard sell. Those people share your interests. As Kiwis, we want to help each other. That's why networking in New Zealand is so successful. We really want to help each other. So if you ask somebody about what they do and whether they enjoy their job and the company and how long their business has been going, at some stage, if you're in the renovation game like I am, they're going to say, oh, my mum's doing a new kitchen. My mum wants to extend her house. At the next football practice or at the next dance, sit next to somebody else, because there's more gold in the room. The other thing that happens is once you do a kitchen or you do a project or you do the IT or whatever you do the insurance for Mr. and Mrs. Smith over here with little Joey, is they didn't tell their friends in the football team. So then they're coming and talking to you. Oh, I hear you did a beautiful kitchen for our friends. We were there on Saturday night. It was amazing. Do you think you could do ours? There's the gold. It's sitting in front of you. Have you ever heard a conversation between a couple of people, business people, and thought, oh, I'd really like to say something. I need to be in on this conversation, but you really don't want to? Next time you hear people talking about something that's relative to you, say, hey, I just overheard you and I'm really sorry, I'm not interrupting, but can I give you guys my business card? Say nothing else. I bet you they invite you into the conversation. The gold is in front of you wherever you're looking, but you actually have to be eyes wide open. So it's in your sports clubs, it's in your hobby clubs, it's definitely in your charities, it's at your schools, it's in your retirement villages. Where are your customers? Focus in on where are your customers and how. Networking is the cheapest way to get a customer. Absolutely cost-effective way to get a customer. Because if you figure out 3 questions, you can pretty much ask the same questions to different people all the time. Hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, wow, how's it going in your business? Is there anything that's really tough for you? Because you know a whole heap of people that could probably help them with their problems because you're a networker. So the important thing is really to ask and to talk to people. But the most important thing is to be quiet. And again, I'll come back to you, Katrina. We gave everybody in pairs 3 minutes the other day or 2 minutes actually, but we gave them 3, to talk about themselves, a minute and a half, and then a minute and a half the other person. The guy that I spoke to spoke for the whole 3 minutes. So when it was his turn to tell the room about me, what did he say, Katrina?
We didn't have anything.
He didn't have anything. Awesome guy, really nice guy. But he hadn't taken any time to ask anything about me. So he missed the gold, because at the end of the meeting, we said to him, hey, we'd really like to promote the charity to all of our members that you're doing for mental health, which is featuring John Kerwin. And we'll do that to about 12,000 people who are all business owners. So he missed the opportunity to get what he's doing to a very big audience. But he was a lovely guy. If your networking group is not giving you what you want, and you don't have, and you've got goals and you've got all those things that we've talked about, and you're not getting the gold, have you considered that you're not right in that group? I like a group that's buoyant and busy, and, you know, I don't like the old man's club where I walk in and I feel like the only female in the room. It doesn't work for me. I want to feel welcomed into my group. I want to know everybody in my group. If you're not getting referrals, if you're not getting to the gold in the networking, why not? And as I said, you can ask Garth, you can ask myself. If you're in Auckland, we'll buy you a cup of coffee, or you can buy us one. That would be even better. If not, let's just have a quick Zoom and we'll figure that out. Why not? Potentially, it could be that you're just in the wrong group. They're the wrong mix of people. And I'll come back to Wellington because I've been there this week. The group is evolving and changing. It's such good fun. They're laughing and joking and they're having a good time. I turn up every 3 months. They know me. It's great. I love it. I enjoy being there. So just think about whether your groups are right for you. What other networks could you be involved in? What other networks could you be involved in? I spoke about the Franchise Association. I'm involved in there because it puts me around other franchisors that are much bigger than me and are international companies. Because I want to spend time with those people. I want to be mentored by them for free. So I openly say, can I come and meet you? I just want to learn from you. And guess what they say? Of course you can, Mark. Then when I'm talking to them, I say, hey, why don't your franchises come to some of our networking meetings? You get 2 free visits, they might get some new business. So there's the gold for me. I'm getting information for free. And there's the gold for them. They get a couple of free meetings for their franchisees to network. I'll take some questions because I've spoke for long enough, Dan.
Thanks
If
so
you've
much,
got a
Mark.
question, maybe just put your hand up.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael Collins from Spearhead Coaching Services Limited. Great introduction, Mark. I think that was great advice on a number of levels. My question to you is, what's the right recipe, networking versus marketing, or mixture of both of those to really get the awareness out there?
So, Michael, your business is business coaching, business mentoring. What is your business?
It's business coaching. So I help businesses grow. I help individuals grow as well. I do some life coaching as well.
So is your business a franchise or is it independently owned? Tell me just quickly a little bit about it.
It's independently owned. It's mine. I've spent 20 years in the military. I got a lot of years of experience with people, with organizations. I've done the U.S. corporate America. I've done corporate New Zealand.
So who are your clients? Who are you looking for, Michael?
Well, I'm looking for clients, small to medium enterprise type businesses that are on the edge, that want to grow, that need to grow, having problems with growth, particularly now with the pandemic, and want to stay in business. And then I have another element of my business where I help businesses create an exit and succession planning.
Okay. So you've got a wide client base. It's not specific. You're not a franchise, so your franchisors are not doing your marketing for you. So yes, you need to do some marketing. Everybody needs to do some marketing. Marketing doesn't need to be expensive, in my opinion.
Yep.
And maybe we can have a conversation offline. But my opinion is that you could network. It depends on your goals, but you could pick up. How many clients do you need to pick up a month?
At least three.
Okay.
3 clients.
So 8 networking meetings a month, have 10 coffees with people, and maybe pick up 2 clients, and then pick up the other client through your marketing. And you can do that however you want.
Yeah.
The problem with the business coaching industry is because of all the subsidies that came out through COVID, everybody wants to be a business coach.
Yeah.
You know, so the market in that SME has become very flooded. So I think what's important is, what is your point of difference? And you've got a big point of difference. Just by opening your mouth, you have a point of difference.
Yeah.
And certainly the military background. So I think 10 meetings a month, however many meetings a month, target to get in front of 10 people, couple of people a week, and look to convert either them or the people they know.
Nice.
Anybody else got a question? Anybody doing something in networking and it's not working for them? Or anybody not having success in networking? Does everybody have goals from their networking? Probably do now.
Yes.
I think sometimes, like, I run the TNG group.
Can't hear you. You keep cutting out again, Dan.
I run the TNG group in Cambridge,
Yep.
and sometimes we get members chatting about, you know, like, I'm just not getting any referrals out of the group. I'm not getting anything out of it. And oftentimes it's kind of like, yeah, I think you're so right in that they're expecting all those referrals from like the members themselves, opposed to their network, that sort of thing. So I think it's just quite important that as a group leaders are kind of reiterating, you know, it's not about people in the group, it's about the people who we know. And then, like, what if someone says that to me, you know, should I just refer them on to your book, like, or like, what would you recommend?
I think I'll come down to the next Cambridge meeting or the one after, and we'll have a bit of a visitors' day, and we'll play the game that we played with Wellington, for want of a better word.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we'll talk to people about what the bigger picture is, because clearly there's people that are showing up, not really putting any effort in, and expecting to be referred to. But my guess is they're not really portraying themselves in a great light either, and I don't know that. But my guess is they're just showing up. They're taking a seat. So we need to change the attitude and the culture. I mean, there's some people in this room that are in some really successful groups where, you know, referrals aren't a problem. It depends on your industry, but, you know, people need to specifically ask what they want as well. But I'm not going to spend any time with anybody who can't give me a really good account of their business in 60 seconds. I mean, most women have a better attention span than men, but if you haven't told me who, what, why, and when in 60 seconds, Dan, I'm sorry. And if you're moaning about getting no referrals, then you know, you need some help. That's the first thing. And the second thing is the group needs to have a look at itself and what it's trying to generate for its members. I know we've got entire groups that don't turn up for referrals. That's not what they go there for. They take them, but they don't go there for that. They go there just to be connected with the people. They've known them for a long time. The referrals come anyway. And I know Cambridge is a reasonably new group, but let's come down and have a chat with everyone.
Brilliant. That'd be great.
Martin.
Yeah, g'day guys. That's good information there, Mark. I appreciate that. And actually, wouldn't mind actually catching up with you personally.
Sounds good.
I'll buy you a coffee, of course. But I just wanted to let you know and everybody else know that I've been in TNG Networks now for over a year, and I've learned a hell of a lot in that year. And one of the most important things I've learned is that you can't go, and I've seen this happen quite a few times actually. Some new people come into a meeting, they just joined the group, and you could almost sense that they're expecting to walk out with a customer after the first meeting. Well, that doesn't work. To me, my business, where I sell advertising on phone charging stations, it's taken me a year to get to know people, them to sort of trust me, get to network properly, get them to fully understand who I am as a person and also what my business is. And more importantly, I get to know who they are and what their business is. And I class it as a bit like a hockey stick effect, where you come into the meeting and for several months, maybe even 6 months, nothing really happens. And all of a sudden referrals just start to come in, you get customers, and it just goes up like that. And that's what I class as the hockey stick effect. And
so, Martin, 20 meetings a year, that's about what we get. 20 coffees in between, because people only generally do one, some do more. If you've got 20 members in your group, it's going to take you the year to get around the whole group. And it might be the 19th and the 20th ones who are the ones that are actually going to give you business, but they've been waiting to spend some time with you personally and understand a little bit more about your business. I like the fact that people, and again, I saw it in Wellington this week, is that people stayed behind and had their one-on-ones after the meeting. They were very organized. And I could see how much business was being shared in that room. The other thing that they did really well in Wellington is they had some great taglines, absolutely outstanding taglines that I wrote them down because some of them were so good, and I'm going to put them in the new version of my book. You know, unforgettable things, you know. Travel agent who says, ring me and I'll tell you where to go. Not going to forget that, are you? I'll tell you where to go. Anybody else got a question? And then we'll get into the 60 seconds for everyone. Let's share each other's information and details and stuff. Happy to have a Zoom with anyone that's not in Auckland. Happy to have a cup of coffee with people. I want you to be successful in your businesses. I'm passionate about business and I'm passionate about people being successful. So thank you very much, Dan, for the opportunity. I hope it's helped people. Write some networking goals, focus on who you want, and you will be successful.